Chris Rogers, one of the Letterland trainers. I want to take a few minutes today to share with you some of the remote learning resources that Letterland has to offer. We know that when the pandemic hit back in the spring, you had to suddenly adapt to teaching virtually. And I would bet that was a little bit stressful. Well, at that time, Letterland provided some resources on our website that were intended for that short-term virtual lesson delivery. Well, COVID is still impacting instruction. Now, some of you may have students back in your classroom 100%, but the majority have a hybrid environment or are still teaching students 100% virtually. So we want to help ensure that students are continuing to get high quality literacy instruction. So on our website, you will find remote learning resources for grades K, 1, and 2. Those are primarily broken up into two types of delivery. Live delivery, which includes whole group and small group, and then there's the independent, self-paced portion where children are practicing at home. So I'm going to take you to letterland.com. We're going to screen share, and I am going to, all right, so I'm going to go to the top, letterland.com, and when you see the links across the top, you would click on remote learning and then choose kindergarten. So at the top, it's just kind of an overview about teaching virtually, but when you scroll down just a bit, you will see those components that I just shared with you: whole group, independent practice, and then small group. We hope that your lessons will include both live and that independent, self-guided, self-paced practice at home. So for whole group instruction, you see here some time recommendations or suggestions. Please know that these are minimal time recommendations. Whole group instruction for live face-to-face with students, 10 to 15 minutes. Again, minimal. If your district allows you more time to spend with Letterland instruction, please by all means take advantage of that. You can get in more explicit instruction and probably some more multisensory activities with your students. So please take advantage if you are allowed and allotted more time. So whole group. Then you have independent or self-paced practice when they are away from you. We have 15 to 30 minutes allotted for that. That would depend on the type of lesson that you have taught and what they need to practice. If you're on into blending and segmenting, and there may be, in addition to some of the activities that you provide, some additional reading opportunities, then that might increase that time that they are practicing away from you. And then the small group, again, we recommend live. We know in some situations there might be some recorded instruction as teachers are trying to carry the load for each other and share the load, I should say, so that some of those lessons may be recorded, but small group instruction should take place hopefully daily, and we've allotted 10 to 30 minutes depending on how many groups you're trying to see, the needs of those students. And we do recommend, and I know virtual is very challenging, but we do recommend that you see every child in a small group virtually at least once a week. And depending on the needs of those students, your children that are struggling the most would likely be seen more than that. So keep that in mind as you're planning your lessons. So again, you have the breakdown of whole group, independent, and small group. As you scroll on down a little more, what do you need for your lessons? Well, of course, the physical resources, you're going to need your teacher manuals. In kindergarten, we have the blue manual, volume 1, and then volume 2 is the yellow manual. You're going to need your picture code cards, and I have those readily available on my pocket chart behind me. Then you could use the letter sound cards. Those are the smaller cards, and they're great for small groups in person, but they're also great if you choose to use your document camera to deliver that live instruction and modeling. So I'm going to transition to my document camera in just a moment and show you those. But the letter sound cards are nice. vocabulary cards, which come in your kindergarten kit, will be used throughout these lessons as well. The word card, those are the smaller cards, and they're also great if you choose to use your document camera. Again, a pocket chart is great to have those cards handy. I have my pocket chart with all the A to Z cards listed here. And just as I do in the classroom, in each pocket, like I would have all of the character cards that go with that letter in the same pocket, depending on, I have Parachuting Annie. That's not a kindergarten skill, but when I'm training or working with first or second graders, I just have all of my letter shape A together in a pocket. In kindergarten, we do teach those friends on the end, so I keep my letters that represent friends on the end, F, L, S, and then also Z down here. Z isn't taught in kinder, but F, L, and S. I keep them on the end of that row. That's a good visual for children when they're writing, after you've taught that you double those final consonants, those consonants if they're at the end of a word after a short vowel. So it's a good visual to say, oh, that's on the end. That's one that I double when I'm writing. So having your pocket chart handy, and then a place for word building. So you want to be sure that you have, if you're using a pocket chart, that it is close enough to your camera so that the children can actually see the letters really well. I am tall, so when I stand up to do the word building, I have to move way back so that the children can see my face and see the letters and sounds that I'm making. So I prefer to have everything closer to me so that I'm sure that everyone can see what I'm talking about. But again, I prefer to use the document camera. So I think I'll just take you there now so that you can see that I also have my reading direction arrow here. So when I am using my document camera, these are the letter sound cards that were mentioned just a moment ago on the list. These come in the 2020 kit. If you have a kit that's older than that and you don't have these cards, you can certainly order them from letterland.com, letter sound cards. But again, they're really easy to see and they fit really nicely and can be seen under the document camera. Great for building words, or even when I'm in the fast track, I'm using the document camera to hold the cards up to talk about the characters. And if you are 100% virtual, I think this is a really nice idea to have a parent or guardian upload you a photograph of those children in your class so that you can assign them characters and they can feel like they're part of that lesson. So Annie, today you're going to be Harry Hatman. What sound does he make? And they can feel a little bit of a part of like they're doing live reading or live spelling. Also in kindergarten, I like to have my rubber band handy so that I can model stretching and the sounds trick when I'm teaching Harry Hatman's sound. I can isolate his sound, or stretching words for spelling. So again, if you're using your document camera, just be sure that you have that reading direction arrow, or if you're doing using your pocket chart, be sure you have your reading direction sign readily accessible as well. And you can print these on your teacher resources and on the virtual resources as well. So let's go back to our materials. We talked about the physical resources and also having a whiteboard handy. And I like to recommend that children have something for my live lessons at home that they're ready to write on and hold up to the screen to show me so that I can monitor their handwriting and whether they're responding with the correct sounds, letters that correspond to the sounds that I might be making when we're playing Guess Who, etc. So being sure that you have something to write on and that children have something to write on. Then your digital resources. You can download in a PDF format lessons at a glance. So you have lessons for different portions of the manual throughout the year that you can download that will kind of give you some guidance as you're delivering those lessons, and then connections to Phonics Online so that you can go straight to Phonics Online to support what you're doing in that lesson. Letterland has just created some wonderful sound and shape activity sheets. Those are also in a PDF form so that you can upload those in whatever platform you're using. You can upload those for children to do at home. It combines the Sentence Copy Master with the A to Z Copy Master activities that you would use in your classroom. But those are really great resources, and typically we would use those for independent practice at home. The little letter cards, they're really nice, a nice set of cards that children can download and use at home. They have upper and lowercase letters available, as well as the digraphs and the vowel team, so you could have students print off, or you could supply them with these small cards so that they have some cards for word building at home that they can manipulate, or even hold up the correct card on the screen in response to something that you're asking. So the little letter cards, again, those are part of your virtual resources. And then of course, Phonics Online. Many districts are using Phonics Online, and not only have the teacher portal, but also are providing students with that portal so that they can get access to practice and listen to the songs and the stories and the handwriting music as well. So I'm going to take you to Phonics Online in just a moment to show you those resources. As you scroll on down, you will see in this kindergarten remote resource some sample lessons. So we are providing you with a lesson from section 1, which is Phonemic Awareness Fast Track. It happens to be lesson 4. You will see one of the trainers actually modeling a lesson for live whole group instruction. And as you go on down, you will see more in detail of how you would deliver that lesson. And then in the margin, you will see some of the resources that would be needed. So Phonics Online would be used. This is the beginning sound picture cards that comes in your teacher resources. Then here is where you see the little letter cards that I just showed you that would be a great resource for students to have at home so that they can manipulate the cards for word building or spelling, and also just to hold up letters in response to questions that you may be asking in that virtual environment, and also matching upper and lowercase letters. So scrolling on down, then we have some sample lessons from section 2. We have a sound and a shape lesson, which happens to be around Munching Mike. And as you scroll down, you see again in the margin, connections to Phonics Online to hear the alphabet song, to hear Munching Mike's story. And I'll show you how we can even do the quick dash now on Phonics Online. This is the example that I was just telling you about, the sound and shape activity sheet, where Letterland has combined the Sentence Copy Master with the A to Z Copy Master. Scrolling on down, you will see small group activities and materials that you can use, which these again are the beginning sound picture cards that are on your teacher resources. So all of these lessons that are you see the video where the lesson is being modeled for you, and then whole group, independent, and small group activities. Okay, now while we're on the home page, just a reminder, you probably already know this, but at the very bottom of the home page, under the helpful links column, the very bottom are your teacher resources. So that's where I click on teacher resources, click on kindergarten, and then here's where I can download and print any of the resources that I need for lesson delivery. Those. Now, I'm also, while we're talking about all of these connections to Phonics Online, let's take a look at Phonics Online. This is the teacher portal. And when you open it up in the home page, you will see 5 different categories. If your students have access to these, to Phonics Online, they will have everything except the teacher toolkit that you see here. If you go to Meet the Letterlanders, if you're delivering a lesson, say Munching Mike, I can go to Munching Mike, click on him, I could click on his story, and Munching Mike comes to life.
The Letterland monster. He's not a scary monster though.
And then, I could also have children, look for things that begin like Munching Mike in the picture, and then they can go back and do that as independent practice. Go back and listen to the story again and see if you, with your learning partner, your guardian or parent, find all the things that begin like Munching Mike. I can hear Munching Mike's alphabet song, and I can click to have the lyrics scroll to the bottom as Munching Mike is singing.
That monster.
The alphabet songs, the lowercase as well as the uppercase, will play, and you will see the dotted line scrolling, showing us how to make Munching Mike's letter shape.
Make Munching Mike's back leg first, then his second leg and third.
And and then you have the uppercase. And then when you click on the chant, it shows the action trick for Munching Mike, and it will make his sound. And then again here, just clicking here, we'll hear Munching Mike's sound. So I have all of the Letterlanders A to Z, long and short vowels, friends on the end are included. Then you get to when you get to section 4, all of our blends are included. So you can click on those, hear the story, the chant, the music with the lyrics, your digraphs. So all of those skills that you're going to be teaching, I can just go to Meet the Letterlanders. One of the new features on Phonics Online is the card tool. So I can just click on my grade level, and this comes in very handy when you're doing the quick dash or the sounds race, and you can even use this for the Guess Who as well. Please note that the word builder is coming very soon, where you can drag the letters down to build words, and they have to use their roller coaster to read those words. That's coming soon, so be on the lookout. But let's look at the quick dash. You can keep scrolling over to find the letters. Most of the ones that kindergarten is going to need are on the first page. So if I'm doing, say, Munching Mike's letter, and that happens to be lesson 31, I can click on a saved order. All the lessons are already pre-programmed for you. So instead of you having to gather the cards together and do a quick dash, either by holding the cards up in front of the camera or doing it under the document camera, I can just go right here to Phonics Online, click on lesson 31, open that folder, and play. All the cards are pulled down to the dark green portion of the screen. And to play, I would display this for my students. Who is this, boys and girls? Annie Apple. And then when I double click, it takes the character away, just like I was doing in quick dash in the class, and I would flip the card to the plain side. So I take the character away. What sound? A. Letter name A. Who is this? Mr. A. Double click. Sound A. Letter A. And if I just click it once, it will tell me that sound.
A.
If I want to do the sounds race, I just go up here to the corner and click off the characters, and so the character will not appear. B, D, E. And so as fast as I click, we'll go through and do a sounds race. Now, if I don't want to do that, I could create my own. So I'm going to get rid of those. And so if I'm doing a small group lesson and I have children that are struggling with specific letters and sounds, and I'll turn the characters back on for a moment, I can just program my own based on the needs of a group of students. So I would just drag the character down to the green box, just click it and drag to create my own. And then I could save it if I wanted to for a particular child or a particular group, and only those cards would be in the deck. So the card feature is very nice. Also on Phonics Online, let's go all the way back, you have Phonics games. So in independent practice, sometimes you will see reference to have children play phonics games depending on the skill that they are working on. And if I click on the plus here, and then the arrow on the side, you will see the skills light up. So if we're already into blending and segmenting and tricky words, I could continue on, and you can continue on through the maze. And once children start playing the game, it will save their place when they have mastered a certain section. It will advance them to the next section, and when they come back to play the game again, it will start them where they left off. So that's a really nice feature of the phonics games. And then you have all of the phonics readers. These are decodable readers based on the scope and sequence that you're teaching beginning in section 2. So after Fast Track, you hit section 2, and after those first 6 to 7 letters, then you start blending. Lesson 36 is your first blending lesson. So once I've started blending, I can start using these decodable readers. The first set, set 1, the red set, and then the blue set will take you through section 2 with all of the consonants and digraphs that are taught in that portion of the manual. So again, some of the lessons will call for independent practice. After you've introduced a book, it will call for them to go back to Phonics Online and click on that particular reader and read. And again, they can read up to whatever you're level they are on to practice fluency, and they can have their learning partner or guardian at home to ask comprehension questions as a support for what you've done in the classroom. Just to point out that on the front of these decodable readers, you will see the focus right down here in the box. So this book obviously focuses on the digraphs, and this is the teaching order, SHCH, and then the voiced and unvoiced TH. So you will see stories based on the skills that you see on the front of the book. And there are 5 books in each set and 4 stories in each book. So there's 20 stories in each of the collections. But also, you have all of them. So if you have a 2020 kit, you have a hard copy of the red and the blue series, but on Phonics Online, you have access to differentiate with your higher students that may be reading at a higher level. You have the green and orange series, which are geared more for 1st and 2nd grade. All right, so that's a great tool. Then you have your teacher toolkit in the teacher portal. The directory is awesome. The directory has all of the sounds and the graphemes, how to spell particular sounds, and the Letterland characters that are used to spell those sounds, and then a little bit about the logic, the Letterland logic as to why or what's happening in those stories. For instance, if you had Cecilia in your class and she says, why doesn't my C make the k sound like Clever Cat? Well, I could go to the sound in the Letterland directory. I would just flip it over to the sound because all of these are sorted by sound. So I would go to the S sound, and there it was. And I would find all the ways to spell S, S-S-S-C-E-C-I-C-Y. And then I would have a little bit about the story as to what's happening in Letterland logic, so I could explain that. So a great resource for you. So you have all those stories at your fingertips. Then you have the Letterland assessment portion. If I go to kindergarten assessments, once I have administered those assessments, so you have to administer the assessments, which are wonderful in letting you know what the children have mastered and what their needs or gaps might be. So thinking about section 2, the very first assessment, I can download this in an Excel spreadsheet. I can delete this content here and put my students and their scores. And you will see that anyone not making benchmark is highlighted in red. And if they have mastered, it's in green. And then, so that can quickly at a glance tell me who needs to work on letter sounds that we've already covered in that section, who needs to work on beginning sounds, and I can start to group my children based on their specific needs. So this is a great resource for you. It's very diagnostic. And then at the bottom, it kind of compares your whole class average to benchmark. So if there's a certain area that your whole class is struggling with, you may need to look at your instructional delivery. Am I doing the quick dash and the sounds race? Am I scaffolding the characters away? Are we getting enough practice using our roller coaster for blending, etc.? So it gives you kind of an overall look, but that's a great resource in your teacher toolkit. Then you have all of your teaching resources, just like on letterland.com at the very bottom of the home screen. Just click on kindergarten and I have all of those resources right there at my fingertips. And then also you have some videos, classroom demo videos. These are for live in-person instruction, but click on kindergarten and see what some of the lessons look like in classroom with your students present. And then the Letterland theme tune song is right there as well. And that's for kindergarten. That's a fun way to maybe be playing when it's time for your Letterland virtual lesson to begin, and students that arrive a little early or students that are still kind of getting themselves together and getting situated. You know, it's kind of is a lively tune. The ones that are ready can be up doing the action tricks and singing along. And then it's time to sit down and listen for a lesson. So that's right there on Phonics Online in your teacher toolkit. So we hope that you can use these, and we do want to thank you for all you're doing to make Letterland instruction meaningful and engaging and fun for children. So hopefully you will have a great year and can take advantage of some of these great resources. Thanks for being here today. Bye-bye.